specifically anyway. Getting ready to go. And it's straight cuddle mode for this winter. Hibernation mode, hermit mode. Bermuda. Not me. Yeah, you want to be outside all the time. I do.
Like to call to order the City of Saugatuck City Council meeting for August 25th, 2025. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amy, will you call the roll?
Anderson.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Mead.
Here.
Gardner.
Here.
Muncy.
Here.
Peterson. Here. Stanton.
Here. We have a quorum. I want to spend a moment commending Douglas tonight for the great work they are doing to provide a sustainable and affordable housing on Wiley Street. They City Council last Monday passed an agreement to go forward with a development that would include affordable apartments, housing targeted to household incomes between 40,000 and 100,000 a year. And then market rate housing. And I know it has been met with some frustration from neighboring homeowners, but it addresses a huge need in the tri-communities and one that we don't have the land to address. So I think it fits with their master plan, which is great. And I'm really excited for our communities because our workers will benefit from it as well. So hats off to them. And Ryan, turning it over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just wanted, good evening, council. Some really great news following your approval of the holiday lighting. After your approval of the expansion of the lighting, which really kind of lined up with what the Convention and Visitors Bureau was hoping to see, last year when I was before them and asked for some grant dollars. And I said, well, City Council's approved some additional lighting. I'm going to make a big ask to you to help with some of that cost to do the electrical upgrades that are necessary, and then kind of help pay for the first year. And so I kind of laid it out for them and kind of showing them like how much the city was investing in the electrical upgrades just to maintain what we have and how much that was going to cost next year, and then obviously the cost to expand, which kind of broke down to being about a request for them to pay for about 28%, and us picking up the rest, which is a lot, right? We know that. And a huge thank you to the CVB. They approved a $20,200 grant to help us expand the holiday lighting this year. So a huge thank you to them, and their board was unanimous. They were very excited and grateful to the council for your approval of some additional lighting. They're still working hard to bring the light installation out here to in Cook Park during the shoulder seasons. They're working on maybe kind of an event, kickoff event around that. So you may see something coming soon on that. But
is that where that artist is going to be?
Yep, exactly right. Yep, exactly right. The sidewalk kind of going down to the water. Yep, exactly. So Malt Bald Head Restroom, we had a pre-construction meeting last week. We're still on track to kick that project off after the Mount Bald Head Challenge. So you should see some work happening after the Mount Bald Head Challenge out there to kind of get the site ready. But that project's going to be underway here soon, or at least I guess it's been underway from my perspective. It takes a lot of pre-planning and work to get here, but the actual construction work, so. Master plan, you should see the survey coming out soon, the survey that you reviewed at your last workshop meeting that should be coming out soon, along with kind of an invite to folks to a more of an open house type setting. We're working on securing hopefully the high school for that. The planning commission last week kind of discussed some stations and boards and kind of a drop-in event. People don't have to be there the entire time to kind of meet with folks and gather some further feedback there, but we'll share that survey in a number of variety of different formats and really work to get the word out on that. Other than that, it's been busy doing double duty, I'll admit. I got a lot on my plate right now, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ryan?
No, well done on the CVB.
No, thank you, CVB.
Great.
Agreed.
All right, any agenda changes? Okay, takes us to, we don't have any guest speakers, correct? Okay, takes us to public comment on agenda items only. Any public comments? Anyone online? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda on page 3. Can I get a motion?
Mayor, I'll go ahead and make a motion to pass our consent agenda for August 25th, 2025.
I will second.
Any questions, discussion? Chris?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Number C, special event, the Havana Club Ride. When I read that, it talked about, they had talked to the sheriff about, is the sheriff going to help with that?
When he said sheriff, he had reached out to Sergeant Haas, and just started talking to him a little initially about the event. So he's referring to Sergeant Haas.
Okay,
So we
so
have not held the safety meeting yet, that's this Thursday.
is my next question.
He's just, yeah, he's been just reaching out and just asking questions to all of us at this point.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, it's a roll call vote.
Anderson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy.
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Staff reports, we heard from Ryan, yes.
I do have a question, Madam Mayor. Can you update us on the homeless issue that has been floating around that I'm not sure where it's at right now?
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been working to try to get an update from the service provider here in Allegan County, On Point, and the social worker there. So I think she was out a portion of last week, and so I followed up again today and haven't heard back. But so I had a meeting with them to kind of gather some more details on as far as their engagement and where things stand. So so they've engaged with the individual that has been staying at Wicks Park. They explained to me that he's an individual that is a community member of ours, that he actually had housing here in the community, lost that housing. So this isn't a situation where somebody necessarily has come from somewhere else. He is a member who is homeless in our community itself. They indicated that he's not willing to maybe accept, emergency shelter at this time. In fact, we don't have that as an option here in Allegan County. Obviously, there's options in Holland and in other communities, but that's not something that he's interested in. But he's very much willing to work with them or the VA, because he is a veteran, to obtain more permanent housing. And so the VA and On Point were having some discussions about which caseload was most appropriate to have somebody work with him. So when we had our meeting, that's what they were still working to kind of sort out, but they've indicated that they have his phone number, that he picks up the phone, must be charging it somewhere, because he does talk with them when they reach out and has been willing to answer a question, is very engaged from their perspective with some services, and their advice as social workers and folks that work to help address homelessness is to allow them to kind of continue their work, and that they're hopeful that they'll be able to continue work with them to obtain some sort of permanent housing.
I'd like to see that put on a workshop. It's a complex issue.
Sure.
And it's again, member of the community, but yet then we have community members on the other side too that have expressed concerns about it. So I'd like to at least have it on a workshop, maybe meet with the service providers. I know they have it's called a HERGA. Everett County has one where they're set up to deal with issues like this, and maybe see, if he decides to continue not to accept, then what? So I just think it would be a good time to have it on a workshop.
I defer to the council and whether or not you wish to workshop something along those lines.
Yeah, I would
So,
support that.
Just a real quick note, I was told by folks that lived across the street that he was gone for quite a few days. But then I believe he's back, so
And I was there.
just
I-
to know.
oh, sorry. I was down there Friday just talking with a couple of business owners and had asked about, and one of the business owners said they have not seen any disruptive behavior or any
No.
problems with people that are using the park. As a matter of fact, one of the business owners told me that this individual was at a picnic bench and had his stuff spread out, and a family came up and asked to use the bench, and he was cleared his stuff away and, didn't put up any arguments. So it's an awful situation. It's very complex, as Councilmember Anderson said, but it sounds like this.
Peterson.
Excuse me, Peterson. He's being respectful.
Yeah.
Not causing problems.
Yeah, I'll note that he is a member of the community. When my mother lived here, he befriended my mom, and they would visit and have cigarettes together. Very friendly guy. He would do little errands for my mom, but he's not a harmful or I don't think he's a threat to the community at all.
No, I'm not insinuating he is. I just think there's an issue this complex. We need to see what's available out there. A little deeper dive into the services available, especially if he's a veteran.
So Ryan is working that. I mean, is there a sense from more council? I mean, does everybody want to workshop it, or do we just want the city manager to continue?
I don't mind meeting with Ryan alone. I don't have a problem.
Yeah, I wanted to give, I mean, just.
I don't know, is it important? I don't know, is it important that we should, have an ordinance or of some kind? I don't know if that's necessary or not, much like we have for Oval Beach, but.
Ordinance could be quite complicated.
Right.
And quite a slippery
Right.
slope.
Well, especially with the recent Supreme Court ruling on homelessness. And I know Traverse City is going through this.
Precisely,
And, so
precisely.
I think again, I'm not trying to throw down on the gentleman. I mean,
Oh,
everything that's been
yeah,
said.
you're. clear with
But
that.
I think it's something that we need to have a little bit more background on for other options too. Not that we'll go down an ordinance, not that we'll do any kind of, well, I don't know what else we can do, But it just seems that, and I'd be glad to just meet with Ryan alone if that's, but
I personally think that might be the best way. I've, done what I can informally with Post 137, alerting all the membership to the situation. I think a number of us have reached out, and I do think people in the community are trying to assist the gentleman that he's familiar with. So I mean, I've also observed, he's not causing any trouble, and I do think he is actually being supported by some members of the community in various ways. I think I've seen him leaving one of the churches up on Allegan Road as well.
yeah, I have no problem looking into it myself. I have no problem calling these other
Mhm.
service area people and finding out what's available and what they've done with him and what they plan on doing, should anyone else arrive.
And my position on this would be is that this is a very unique situation. It's not the first homeless person we've had in town, but to making sure that the city has not even a policy, but just we know where to go for resources to help individuals in this kind of situation more quickly and and not to say it hasn't been effective, but just if it were to occur again, here's the exact resources that we have identified and here's who's going to be engaged and just more along those lines.
So I think having, heard Ryan talk about this, he started with the sheriff, has been working with On Point and with the VA. I mean, part of it is just, the time it takes for them then to come and make contact with him. So I feel like from our end, the process short of then debating whether we want to, put some ordinances in place. We've got that and I don't think we're there.
No, I dealt with social services.
Right.
And so I would like to know what we have available here and kind of the timeline that's happening, because he's been.
Yeah,
here.
it's been more than a month, so.
Mhm.
Okay.
I mean, maybe perhaps just a report out from the manager on kind of what we've learned. I mean, I am sympathetic to Councilmember Peterson's point of view because, winter is coming,
Mhm.
Right, and that,
and this is going to be problematic for the gentleman.
Right.
I don't know if anybody's ever noticed, but somebody I think lives by the church it's in the township, but I think they've actually got an ice fishing shanty out in the woods that they live in during the winter. And I don't know who it is, but I mean, a lot of this stuff happens. I mean, a lot of people are living in their vehicles.
Oh, sure. We got
We have a number of examples.
the gentleman on his bike, who people know him as Billy, there are a few folks that,
Yeah.
we've seen it, yeah.
I guess I'm suggesting we just sort of handle it discreetly and.
I don't know if we need a
That-
workshop.
I'm fine with that. I
I don't know if we
we have
need
the
a
background, I
workshop.
can
for it.
pull things up.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. All right.
Certainly has the background and I know On Point is definitely thinking about the cooler weather that's coming too. And I'm hoping that their next update will be,
A little more
give all of
academic.
you a lot more, of a progress update. I know I haven't been able to in the last couple of weeks. I apologize.
Thank you.
Good,
Thank
good
you.
question. So we're on the consent agenda, right? No, we passed that.
Yeah.
Staff reports. Okay, now we get to boards, commissions and committees. Dan, you're up.
This will not be a particularly long one. Shows the picture from the sidewalk sale where I guess the sheriff's officers at the south end and the fire service had at the north end. Another thing I wanted to point out, done this before, so forgive me. See the little girl in the pink pants there, kind of in the foreground? You can see her size compared to the height of the front of the truck. And the driver's head, roughly, you can draw a line from his head over that hood. And it will leave you with about an 8 to 10 foot space in front of that truck where the driver cannot see if there is anyone there. That's why the fire service continues to harp on parade safety and what have you. Anyway, sorry. Beating a dead horse probably, or at least a sick horse.
Well, no, Dan, you're not. Is the recommendation of the fire department that our parades have marshals walking next to the vehicles?
No, not necessarily. I think the chief would like to engage on it. We did a presentation, multiple pages. I was involved in that way back. I mean, it had to be 3 or 4 years ago on parade safety and what have you. That included some specific considerations, not do this, do that, but think about shorter's better. It offers less exposure for vehicle incidents, trouble, what have you. Think about barricades on the side of the street to keep people on and behind the curb. Same problem as this. Those kids dart out. I mean, you've seen them on the videos and it's crazy. So anyway, I can gather up that packet and share it again with you in writing. I don't have to stand up here and do it. I'll just make sure you have it.
I just want to be clear that this is not falling on deaf ears, and it makes me very uncomfortable every time we have a parade where people are throwing candy and kids are running for the candy. Because, everybody's got a different view of parenting and, some people, for whatever reason, let their kids run out and grab candy when there's fire trucks around. I guess I'm interested in the solution. And is it marshals, and do we need to increase the number of volunteers that we require to permit a parade? I feel bad for you that you keep coming and bringing it up, and I would like us to work to solve it.
Well, and like I say, I think, I wish. I don't want to speak ill of guides walking alongside or at all. I mean, that's certainly any action in this area is probably a good action. So, but again, if you had those and barricades, and you'd solve a good deal of this.
I just do want to know that we did, make some changes this year. We didn't get to fully see them play out because of the 4th of July parade being canceled, but we made some changes. Well, one, we do have a set parade route except for the 4th of July and homecoming. So we have really kind of tightened that parade route up to address that concern that had come up. We also went with no parking along the parade route this year, which a lot of the problem was that we just had folks in front of vehicles that were parked because they couldn't see, and that was already creating this really tight tunnel and putting people that much closer to
Mhm.
vehicles. So taking the cars off the street, there's a lot of safety benefits to doing that. And then we have asked the parade organizers that they have to have, marshals or whatever they're calling them, where we actually give them vests. We give them for a lot. Yeah, and
You've had that in place. Okay.
where they actually are keeping, especially it's predominantly at the intersections typically where we start to see some encroachment into the route where they're responsible to really keep those routes, more open. So, so we have, listened, I've met with the chief. We've discussed all these kind of safety improvements. He was, certainly on board with what we implemented for this year.
And I've also noticed that the last few parades, they're not throwing candy in the street. I see the volunteers are on the side
That's changed.
passing them out. And I've noticed they've been really good about doing that the last few parades.
I think you put that in, isn't it in the requirements for the
Yeah, we put-
sponsors? So that's, yeah.
That's the other thing we're doing. Whenever we have a safety meeting, we're kind of actually closing the loop down. We're taking all those conditions from that safety meeting, and that's basically a condition of their approval of their event. We're putting it in writing, so that way everybody has all the same information, and it's, all there, and nobody can argue with that. I forgot that piece.
Kept like 2 weeks before the event, everyone's responsibilities, everyone replies, they understand, and then it's been going really well. Obviously, for the July, we didn't get to see that, but everything was lined up to be successful safety wise.
I'm absolutely thrilled.
I think we're getting better, but I would like to see a barricade much like what Douglas does. At least along Butler Street. I know that we're talking a lot of work for the DPW and all of that, but it would be nice eventually to go to a barricade like that.
Or even, the other one that is the ones they use in Holland that are much more portable than the big concrete ones, the Archer barriers. I don't know if you've ever been to the farmer's market in Holland where the Civic Center, they block both ends of that with, I think, 5 or 6 on each end. And those are made in such, I've seen the videos. You hit that with a car, it literally goes forward and lifts the car off the ground.
Yeah, remember we used those one time. They let them borrow it. And the trailer and Scott brought to the council the cost of, if we were to purchase something like that. What I'm talking about is the horses along the street.
Oh, well,
To
yeah.
prevent people from walking into, that's what I meant by barricade.
Yes.
In addition to those, it would be nice to
Yeah.
have the funds for something like this. Those are very expensive,
Well, you buy 2 a year, they're not as expensive, so.
That's a good idea.
And maybe even cost share with Douglas. I don't know. I'm
Mhm.
Kathy about it. But
Going back to the sidewalk sale was obviously a big success and everything, but I noticed there were only sawhorses at the streets. They didn't have to have a car parked there. So what was the difference?
I wasn't party to the, my person
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
party to the safety meeting.
And the cones were at the outer ends, so they were, the cars were parked along Butler Street blocking, and then the sawhorses and the cones were at Water Street and Griffith Street, so the outer streets, not the streets, up by the side.
Yeah.
On Butler Street by the sidewalk sales, those were all blocked. Side, Butler Street was cars all the way down.
Okay.
And then the horses and the cones were on your outer street, next outer street
Mhm.
down is.
So that worked
Yeah,
beautifully.
and that's what we've been doing for blockage.
I mentioned that thing last time about the stickers for your volunteer cars that add an era of officialdom. The same deal with marshals. I was at an event where I marshaled for somebody parking cars and they give you a flimsy, but flimsy in terms of weight, but it was structurally sound, bright green.
Identifies you.
Yeah, vest that
Yeah.
the thing couldn't have cost $2.
We get those.
That's, again, it helps. All those people are there partly because they're gonna have to say to somebody, hey, back on the sidewalk. And if they look just like
Sure.
Dan Fox, I'm gonna get a middle finger and that's that, or worse.
Or you might get hit by a car.
Whatever. So, anyway.
I'm absolutely thrilled. I was out of town for the 4th. I'm absolutely thrilled that this was in place for the 4th, even though we didn't get to deploy it. So I'm looking forward to seeing it at our next parade. That's great news.
What is
Mhm.
it?
Homecoming.
Oh,
That's cars though, isn't it? So, but still,
But there's floats and,
There's floats and,
oh yeah,
and it's gonna be hard to stop the
And the
school
band,
students from throwing
and the fire
candy.
department and,
It's gonna
yeah.
be hard to stop the kids from going crazy. So,
Yeah.
Next one, Jamie, we're off cycle because last meeting I presented the July statistics with the exception of life, which I'll present tonight. But I don't have to go through all the rest of those statistics, which we went through last time, but so this week, because our meeting was just a week ago today. And in that meeting, the highlights here, we reviewed those incidents, that statistics you've already seen and talked about. The board was updated both by the chief and by people on the board, briefing their fellows on the municipal bonding approach to funding the South Station. There is, coming out of that, there's a September 9th meeting, I think it's 11 o'clock in the morning, a workshop meeting at Saugatuck Township, wherein that structure of municipal bonding will be discussed with the township board, and that meeting includes the bonding experts, for lack of a better word, who have served the township and have served Elgin County in this area before. So there's experience in the room, again, to discuss and aiming to move forward on the acquisition of that piece of property. So stay tuned on that. I don't know if I explained in great detail. I hope I didn't, because I don't want to repeat, but the bonding, each jurisdiction, each municipal jurisdiction has bonding authority. The fire district does not have bonding authority. And so to accomplish any major project using bonding paid back by tax receipts to the fire district, one of the jurisdictions has to move that forward. The township was chosen because the amount the jurisdictions, you probably know this better than I do, can bond has a finite top limit related to property values, I believe, township or city, whatever. And so if a township or a city is up close to that maximum, they would be disinclined from using up whatever was available for outsiders like us. In the case of the township, the gap there is extremely wide. So the initial read from the township manager and one of the township supervisors, or whatever they call them, who's also on the fire board, was very positive that this could be done. There is virtually zero risk to the township in this process, financial risk to the township. So anyway, that's what that's headed for. You're welcome. That's an open meeting, I'm sure, on the 10th or on the 9th, 11 o'clock. Chief announced that there had been a donation and delivery from Ray's Towing. Ray's Towing is in Fenville. They gave us 5 wrecked cars, which is pretty cool because we can then further wreck those cars teaching the guys how to use the jaws of life and what have you. We've got new people. So it's not only they bring them, when we're finished with them, they're going to get them the hell out of here. So works on both ends. And then I'll show you the next chart. We reviewed, just show you this for information. We talked a little bit more about it than I expect we will tonight. The 10-year apparatus costs, incidents, and maintenance. And I show you this next chart, please. Just to let you know the extent that the district and the chief and his people go to maintain accountability and records related to the equipment, which is a major expense for the fire district, all the way down to cost per month. You don't see cost per mile on the boats because we don't measure it that way, but and everything else. Oddly, the smallest vehicle, the mule,
I noticed that.
is the highest.
Uh,
It's only 17 miles. So
Right.
you're putting a number over a very few miles. Anyway, I found this fascinating. When we were in the Army, this is the kind of stuff we loved. So Next one, please, Jamie. These are the life statistics again for July that weren't.
I'm sorry, can you back up just?
Sure. Jamie can, I can. It's right.
Okay, so this is just your operating cost divided by the number of miles that you've driven. It doesn't include depreciation and. Got it. Okay, thanks.
No.
Imagine those numbers would change dramatically if you included the cost of the asset.
We obviously have total acquisition costs. But these, again, as you say, these are just operating costs.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
And I think the next chart in the fire district thing, not this chart, but the next chart in our packet had to do with acquisition costs and what have you, so. Which are disgusting, to be honest with you.
I can imagine.
Mhm.
I think your mule won't be as expensive if you include the, your mule won't be that expensive if you
Yeah,
include
that-
your,
Right.
your depreciating cost.
Right.
Be just fine. So this is for the, again, this, and I'll have the map is the next chart here, but this is for the entire fire district, not just for Saugatuck. Overall compliance against the county standards, county medical standards, higher. Priorities are, can you see across the bottom? You can show the next chart. You see, we can come back if you want to, but this is, here you can see how they laid out. For you get both Douglas and Saugatuck, but it looks like there were priority ones in Saugatuck to my eye. I don't have addresses for these. And hopefully that's about to drop. Next one goes to, I had showed you this chart before. The bar chart showing the increase, the gray bars, current year increases in calls for service from Douglas Cove. And it has gotten a little nutty. We talked about that at the board meeting and I believe it was early this week. If not, it was late last week, whatever the 19th of August was. The chief and deputy chief visited with two of the top people at Douglas Cove and had a productive meeting. This is sort of the first attempt to use the bully pulpit to drive these numbers down. And that you can read how the chief characterized that. Forget what AA stands for. DON is Director of Nursing, Administrative something, I'm guessing the AA thing. And the senior most person at Douglas Cove was not in the meeting because she was on a vacation, but they were going to brief her and what have you. So again, we'll continue watching and stay alert. One of the things they said, which made some sense, they can't take cell phones away from the patients, or entitled. And one of their patients likes to call 911. And so they're alert to that. We're alert to that. And it's probably already at the level where we could easily invoke cost recovery from that individual. So sometimes a $300 or $400 or $500 bill causes a change in heart from people making, in the same way we would do cost recovery on multiple false alarms to the same place, same deal. And I think that's it. Oh, no, I'm sorry, one more. I thought you'd be interested. The Fire Chiefs Association, on which Greg serves, made a $5,000 donation, obviously not just our fire district, but Allegan County Fire Chiefs Association, in support of the Allegan County Safe Schools program, which remains a favorite point of attention for Chief Janik. And I'm not sure, they're in the process of scheduling off-time active shooter training in the schools that's been done before, and is a worthwhile thing to have in place. Everybody knows who's doing what, when, and without thinking about it. So anyway, I thought this was nice. Now that's the last. Greg and Mike Betts. Have any questions?
Questions for Dan? Thanks, Dan.
Again.
If you, I'll send that, if you want, I'll send that presentation in your email and on the parade thing from however long ago.
Yeah, I remember doing that before, but I'd like to see it again.
Absolutely. And and I can't swear that every bit of that is still Bible, but at least it's grist.
And thank you for sending that to us before the meeting. Gave me time to look at it before you came up here. So I appreciate that.
You must have said, she does that. I send it to Jamie as quickly as the process of receiving it from the fire chief or the fire district and then putting it into this format takes. And I have a staff of one that's involved in that effort,
Great.
so that varies.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Great, Hannah Urban.
I'd like to take a real quick minute to explain something or to read something that Becky put together, Understanding the Interurban Transit Authority Services, Funding and Community Impact. The Interurban Transit Authority has existed since 1980. We're funded by three different sources: 5311 federal operating assistance, which covers 18% of eligible expenses. We receive an estimated 30.589% of eligible expenses from the state of Michigan. Local revenues collected as a tax levy currently at 0.5 or 1/2 mil, which equals to equals to 50 cents each $1,000 taxable property value from the township of Saugatuck, the city of Douglas, and the city of Saugatuck, along with rider revenue. The director secures grants for operating expenses, new buses, facilities, and green initiatives. The Interurban Transit Authority has signed a master agreement with the FTA, that's the Federal Transit Administration. It is a recipient and must comply with applicable federal laws, regulations, and requirements that follow applicable federal guidance, except as the federal government determines otherwise in writing. The FTA guarantees must adhere to the Civil Rights and ADA, American with Disabilities Act. All our revenue vehicles require a lift. Title V and DOT's implementing regulations, equal employment opportunity, and disadvantaged business enterprise. Interurban Transit Authority employs 6 now, we just hired a new one, full-time employees, 1 executive director, 1 full-time mechanic, and now 16 part-time employees. We just hired 3 more, and 3 seasonal employees. We have 6 active board members. We have 9 revenue vehicles that are lift equipped. 2 buses can carry up to 17 passengers, and 7 buses can carry up to 13 passengers. We average 7 to 10 riders per hour per bus. From April to June 2025, we carried 4,064 people with disabilities. In May 2025, we carried 6,461 riders. In June 2025, we carried 9,924 riders. And in July 2025, we carried 15,524 riders, which is a record month. It was up 1,903 passengers, and it's the highest we've ever had. It's an all-time record that beat our last record by 163 riders. Our riders fares change from 50 cents to $5. We deliver prescriptions from Alexander's Drugstore for $2 fee, and we deliver food from local restaurants for a $3 fee. Public transportation expands access to resources by making it easier and more affordable for people to reach essential job access, education, healthcare, food security, community engagement, and economic inclusion. And so I just wanted to read that off, and for folks that, not everybody knows our mission statement, or the gist of it all, and why we have to have the buses that we do, and the equipment that we use. So just to clear that up. Other than that, we had a very short meeting, and our ridership again was up. We are in great financial standing right now because we were able to adjust our budget because of the cutbacks. And I will give you a hint, we've been at that 0.5 mil for 20 years, I think now. Before that, we were at 1 mil. So I believe that next fall, you can expect us to be on the ballot to ask our citizens to help support us as we have grown and provided more service, more riders, going more places.
Thank you, Gregory.
Mhm.
Joe, Cal Lake.
Yeah, once again, thanks for having me follow this, Mayor.
And
Just a couple of things. I think I mentioned in our last meeting, the board was considering splitting the role as they replace the last operations manager, creating two roles, and that pretty much was discussed at our last meeting and agreed upon to kind of formalize it. So the one role will pretty much be the overall responsible manager that will focus most of their energies on the back office, HR finance, accounts receivable, planning, working with the municipalities, working with the board of directors, that sort of thing. And then the other operations manager will just be that, right? It'll be out in the field when necessary, focusing on the all outside plant, inside plant, workforce management, those types of things. So, that's pretty much been finalized by the board. They also put in place an advisory committee to develop the job requirements, make sure that the interviews are, administered and coordinated, and that there's a board member, we're sitting through each member candidate that comes through the pipeline, so on and so forth. So that's kind of work in progress. There are a number of interviews that are being scheduled right now, so I think there's a good, healthy,
Great.
pool of candidates that are interested in the job, which is important because, especially getting the right licensing and all that sort of thing. Other than that, pump station 8 requires some costly repairs. There's some water intrusion into a dry well that since has been fixed, but there was some damage. There's a big electrical panel that's kind of leaning over, and it's going to be expensive. It's going to be about $60,000 to affect the repairs. So that's coming. I think there's a room in the budget to cover that, but it's also early in the year, so it consumes a big chunk of it. So risk to the financial year. And then there was an election held to replace Barry Johnson as the board chair. Abby Bigford won that responsibility, and yours truly got named as the vice chair. So
Mhm.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
that's about it. Questions?
Thanks. Good report. Chris, anything from the,
Nope.
okay? I don't think there's been a ZBA meeting. Russ, have you, I think,
We are having our next regular meeting on September 4th at 6 p.m.
awesome. Okay, back to you, Joe, with planning.
Yeah, Ryan pretty much covered it. We have the survey coming out. We got the format pretty close to lock down for the September 30th open house. Other than that, planning agreed to table the zoning consolidation until after the master plan was finalized, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because then any zoning changes would be obviously mirrored or, to the methodology outlined by that plan. So other than that, that's it.
Great. Lauren?
Parks and Public Works meets tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, but we did have a kickoff meeting for the Kalamazoo River Greenway. That was on the 20th. We'll be meeting quarterly with that group. It's a great group. They are working on the big focus for the coming year will be around education about the Kalamazoo River Greenway, treating invasive species. Our middle school students will be out there at the Saugatuck Wilds again this year, treating the invasive species with the ODC. And we're just looking forward to meeting with this group quarterly and seeing what they can do. ODC is working on lots of different grants. It's really nice to have them as a resource to work on grants that, our staff does not have time for, but they can work on things, and I think it's going to be a really fantastic resource.
Any questions for Lauren?
Yeah, just a quick question. I had a chance to view the meeting and the meeting minutes, item number 10, Cook Park Review. The Cook Park Review discussion was brief and inconclusive. Chair Kimball noted that the park is currently underutilized. I'm just kind of curious as to what she means. And then it goes on to say that they're uncertain about the exact boundaries of the park and confusion about which parks belong to the city versus the yacht club. And it says Boatworks, but it's actually the Butler. Chair Kimball suggested they need to determine the park's precise boundaries, understand potential leasing agreements, and explore ways to make the space more functional. Just kind of curious where this is coming from. The park boundaries are pretty well set. I mean, there's not there's
Yeah.
never been any confusion about the park boundaries. It's.
That was just something that Nancy had questions about because she didn't know. It wasn't anything that the group was discussing. They were more questions that Nancy had.
Okay, and maybe next time I see Nancy, I'll ask her about why she thinks the park's currently underutilized, because I think it's heavily utilized.
Yeah,
Just
that's
kinda
just the
curious.
Nancy opinion.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Tri-Community Non-Motorized Trail Study Committee.
Looking forward to the walkthrough. It didn't happen yet, did it?
Today.
It was today. How'd it
Yep,
go?
so, a very good, walkthrough, except for our engineer had a medical, issue and had to leave us, but, aside from that, it was, really appreciated the tribal nations inviting, Daniel and I and our engineer, to participate. The state kind of made it quite clear that that was the first time they'd ever seen that happen. That they don't have those types of, relationships, and typically the process, isn't always as, collaborative as what they're seeing here and us working on the trail right now. So the state was complimentary of that. But it really helped, I think, the tribes to see the trail route in person, like anything, right? It's one thing to see something on paper, it's another thing to see it in person. But it also was really helpful for us to understand their perspective. So we're working on getting a meeting scheduled for next month to kind of go over some more details with some of our pieces that the engineer wasn't able to attend. And then they're going to be taking kind of their notes, digesting and kind of looking at what areas might need additional assessment on their part, and we'll go from there.
So you and Mr. DeFranco were both able to participate?
Yep. Most of the day today with that, so.
What was
Wonderful.
your,
Wonderful.
sorry, what was your overall feeling about how it went?
So I think it went well. Like I said, I think we had really good dialogue. I think, there's some further evaluation that they'd done, particularly in the area near the cemetery and the township, which was not unexpected. Maybe some, rework with the exact trail layout in that section, but not necessarily, a response that we couldn't necessarily go generally through that area. We need to be, certainly sensitive to certain resources that are within our area that are important to the tribes. Obviously, for example, our trees are important to us as a community. They're important to our tribal nations. And so just really trying to minimize tree removals to the extent possible, especially if they're mature trees. I think, I think them seeing it in person was, like I said, helpful for them and maybe hopefully lessen some of their concerns that they might have had. And for us, it was helpful for us to understand where they're coming from some more as well.
Who attended from the tribes?
So they have kind of a team of tribal historic preservation officers that were there. So there were a couple folks from that office, and then they also have some environmental folks with the tribe that were present as well that had more expertise in certain species of vegetation and that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Anything from the Water System Operating Contract Advisory Committee?
Trying to get a meeting together in September. So-
Yep. I think we're gonna get all the groups back together and some big discussion. So.
Right. And Scott, anything new on the wildlife?
No, council took action 2 weeks ago and I believe the committee is going to sunset later this year. We did put a expiration date on it. I can't recall off the top of my head if it was end of year or if it was by the beginning of hunting season, but I don't foresee any reports
Okay.
next few meetings, but you can keep it on the agenda until it officially sunsets if you want.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, it takes us to approval of accounts payable on page 28. Get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve accounts payable in the amount of $390,458.41.
Any questions or discussion?
Yeah, just a note, did a little bit of math, and 55.3% of the costs that you're seeing on here are pass-through costs for property taxes and Saugatuck School District. Interesting, a little bit of an uptick for the legal fees, 28,085.06, 7.2%. So just a function of what we're doing. So.
It's a roll call vote.
Anderson?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
Muncy?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Staton?
Yes.
Motion carries. Takes us to new business. Page 30, the appointments to the Parking Improvement Task Force. Arian, do you want to tee this up?
Yeah, I can. So back in mid-July, you all approved the formation of an advisory Parking Improvements Task Force. So since that time, we've put out a request for proposals for some consulting support. We received 3 proposals back on that. So that's kind of on my list to do a deep dive into, and then depending on who's appointed from the council or who the chair is from tonight's meeting, hoping to get at least the chair and probably the mayor and I together to kind of set up some interviews with those firms to ask some further questions and kind of dive into their proposals some more. But in addition, we also put out notice that we were accepting applications for the various positions on the task force. All of the positions received 1 applicant except for 1. We received 2 folks that were interested in serving as the city resident non-business owner representative. So the mayor kind of took that and discussed with Councilmember Muncy, and they brought forth a recommendation to you that you consider kind of expanding the task force a little bit to include both of them. And that in this case, they don't believe that the interviews are necessary, given the number of applicants and their review of the applications. Because you do have a board and commission selection policy that requires interviews, you do need to, essentially agree to suspend that policy related to these appointments, which is allowed under that policy itself. But otherwise, the recommended appointments are before you.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the 2020 Boards and Commissions selection policy related to the appointments to the Advisory Parking Improvements Task Force and to appoint the following members: City Council Representative and Chair Gregory Muncy, Planning Commission Representative Austin Marino, City Resident Kathy Brockington, City Resident Wendy Coulson, Restaurant Owner Representative Alec Paylater, Retail Business Owner Representative Michael Gustitis, Convention and Visitors Bureau Representative Gary Cott, and Interurban Representative Becky Carton Crandall.
Second.
Discussion, questions? Great group. I'm thrilled with the
Agreed.
group. Great.
Agreed, very good.
I mean, wow. And thank you, Wendy, for serving. It's terrific. I think, I don't know that we could have handpicked a better group, so.
Absolutely.
And I think we're fortunate to know all of these folks personally, every single one on the list. And so, and after looking at their applications, I had to agree there wasn't really a reason to have a formal interview.
Great. All right. Is this a roll call vote?
Anderson.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Gardner.
Yes.
Muncy.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Congratulations, Wendy. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
serving. We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Wendy.
and thank you, Gregory, for chairing.
Of course.
Okay, with that, we need a motion to go into closed session.
Public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
public comment. Anyone wish to make a public comment? All right, thank you. Now, motion to go into close. Oh, did
I
somebody
don't,
raise
I
their
didn't
hand?
see anybody. No.
Okay. I'm gonna try one more
Yeah,
time.
that's okay.
We get a motion to go into closed session.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to move into a closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268E and H to discuss a confidential written legal opinion regarding the ongoing lawsuits filed against the city by Dune Ridge, captioned Dune Ridge versus City of Saugatuck, case number 22-65713CK, and Dune Ridge versus City of Saugatuck, case number 21-64709CZ, regarding trial or settlement strategy, which is discussed in an open meeting, would have a detrimental financial effect.
Second.
Okay, it's a roll call vote.
Anderson.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Gardner.
Yes.
Muncy.
Yes.
Yes.
Stan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thanks, Wendy. Long time no see.
Yeah, thank you all very much for.
We are back in open session. We are at agenda item 16, correspondence on page 56. We had a letter from the Knights of Columbus. Council comments. Joe, you want to start?
The sidewalk scale was fantastic. It was so fun to walk around, see all the people enjoying themselves and have a special event around that. So thank everyone who's helped make that big success for the town. Had a great conversation with one of my neighbors this morning who's daughter was present, who's going into high school. I think maybe a friend of another neighbor's daughter. Anyway, it's exciting to see the kids go back to school, and also a reminder that we're heading into fall and weather's supporting that as well. So it's my favorite time of year and I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, I just want to thank Gregory for taking on the parking task force, because that is truly going to be a challenge and hopefully a rewarding experience.
I think so. I think it will be.
So good meeting tonight. Thank everyone for their discussions.
I would like to piggyback on what your comments were at the beginning and thank Douglas, Douglas for taking on a great, great project there and helping to bring affordable housing here. There are a lot of things back and forth and maybe a few, like you said, residents that weren't too happy about it. But I got the chance and the opportunity to talk to Matt Ballmer, who stopped by the flower shop and picked up a flower for his wife. It was her birthday. And he has a great way of talking about it and explaining the process. Really took the time to say it. I know he said something on Facebook, but it's a lot more thorough. And he told Franny Martin and I, we were kind of sitting there and he let us know that, hey, let anybody know if they have any questions. They can go right up to Matt Ballmer. He's got a great way of really kind of breaking down what it's really all about. And so just a reminder, it's really important to reach out to those folks that are a part of the issues when you really want to know the real story. And then other than that, we've got 2 more music in the parks. April Gundy has done a wonderful job with that. And we've got this Wednesday, there will be Rock Shop. And the following Wednesday will be September 3rd. And that will be the Sea Cruisers. So just like you were saying, a lot of great events in this town. And then another thing, talking to merchants like Patty Beery, the folks at American Spoon, and lots of the merchants where I live and down the block. A lot of folks are saying this was a very banner year this year with bigger numbers than they have seen in their stores ever. So I just think that we're very blessed to have what we have. And another, I do it all the time on the radio show, but a shout out to our DPW. It amazes me that with just what, we've got 5 or 6 full-time employees and all the work they do with the tens of thousands of people that we visit every year or that we entertain every year. They do a wonderful job keeping it clean here and doing a great job. So another shout out to them. And then finally, I noticed this week, there's a kind of hush, which I like every summer. And this is that time of year where kids are going back to school. And so I'm starting to see here and there some extra parking around town. And it's getting a little bit easier to park in town. And so, which is nice.
Yeah, if you see one of our local teachers, thank them. Because they'll start tomorrow. And wish everybody a happy Labor Day weekend. And looking forward to seeing you all at the Mount Baldhead Challenge the week after, or the 2 weeks after, or whatever it is.
Everybody has said all of the wonderful things, but really, Gregory, being chairperson of the parking task force, thank you. It's a big ask, but I know you're going to be fantastic at it, and I'm just thrilled that it'll get started and we'll start tackling that problem.
We've got great people on the task force, and that's going to make it easy for me.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, great comments. Good meeting this evening. I do want to mention that the Spear Street Block Party, which thank you, Councilmember Muncy, for attending. We probably had about 75, 80 people, and it was a great event. We're going to do it again next year. We did a little bit of research. This has been going on since 1984 was the first year that we held it. So even though it says the 13th annual, anyway, we've now since discovered 1984 was the first year for it. So it's a great event, building community and welcoming our neighbors. And I can tell you the number of short-term rentals, people that have come up and said, I want to move here, because we invite them. If they're staying, if they're staying next to our house, I'm saying, if you're here, you're our neighbor. So it's just an effort to make this a community, and people really respond to it. So thank you for coming.
Oh, and don't forget to mention the chocolate chip cookies, which disappeared within 40 minutes of
You
putting
tried to
them
give me a heads up. By the time I got over there, gone. So yeah, Gregory's cookies.
out.
I'm batting cleanup, so ditto and good night.
So Gregory, just a little visual. I had coffee with Sandra Randolph last week or the week before. This is her folder of short-term or parking recommendations
Oh,
dating
good.
back to 1994, I think. The city has scanned them all in, but I love it that she kept a folder and passed it on so we can benefit from them.
Okay, and are you gonna give that to me so I can do some homework? Yeah.
Start reading.
Yeah.
I'll
No?
put it on my desk and I'll have something to do.
Yeah.
But you did scan all of this, so we do have it. That's great. But yeah, I'll give you the hard copy in a week or two after.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my final thing is I've been just hearing a lot of love for the playground. It's about 4 or 5 different people have come up to me recently and tell me how much they love the playground. So it's great to have that part of our community. And with that, who wants to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, say yes.
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 Meeting adjourned.